This week's episode is brought to you by Sal's FPS Accounting Service. Is your gaming system living up to its full potential? Do you experience constant frame rate drops during your gaming sessions? At Sal's, a team of highly trained professionals will search the dark reaches of your system to help find those lost frames and notify you when they're found. Sal's FPS Accounting Service. Talk to your local service provider for more information. And now, on with the show.
Can we get this show on the road, please?
Welcome to the Geek vs. Geek podcast. I'm Joe.
I'm Dan.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Ted.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Doing okay. How's everybody else?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Awesome. Hey guys, you guys have known me for a very long time, right? We've been friends for a long time.
Unfortunately. I mean,
Uh-huh.
yes.
Yeah.
So you know how I like to make declarative statements that I regret later, but I'm very passionate about in the moment?
On a
Yes.
constant basis, yes.
Okay, so I got a new one for you.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I've been playing Alien Isolation. One of those critical darling of a horror genre games from like ages ago, right?
Well, ages being
Okay.
only a couple years ago, but yes.
I hate
It
it.
was.
I absolutely hate it.
Why?
Why?
Do
I
you
don't want to play this fucking game anymore.
Why?
What? Why?
Alright, so the game was made during the time of Outlast, where everyone kind of went, and Amnesia, where they're like, a horror game where you walk around and just hide from stuff, and the tension from hiding, you know, is the game? Wonderful. And it may have worked for those games. The problem that I have with Aliens is that the gameplay is boring and sucks. Now, the hide and seek mechanic of it is, on its face, is pretty neat. The fact that on a console you even get a lean to peek out from around boxes, cool. My problem is that the game pretty early on starts to give you weapons that are useless, and I hate that. Let me fight back, or let me not be able to fight back. Don't give me this in between. We're gonna give you a wrench, and we're gonna put you up against things that require 18 wrenchings to kill. What's
But is
even
that-
worse is by the time that you get to those things, which are androids, you also have a revolver. And if you're lucky, like me, you've picked up 18 bullets or so, which is the most I've seen in some playthroughs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is when these, and they're called, I think they're called like helpful Joes. I forgot what they're, working Joes.
Working Joes,
When
there we go.
When the working Joes come for you, they come pretty slowly, giving you time to line up shots and such. I put 2 full magazines, 12 bullets into this working Joe, just because I wanted to clear the level and just keep going, and he did not stop. I had to wrench his head at the end of that in order to kill him. Not only is that a tremendous waste of resources, but it makes the one resource that I have to defend myself utterly fucking useless. And that's
What difficulty you been playing on?
normal. This is normal
Ooh.
difficulty. Because I didn't have the patience to go through with a really hard run when I just wanted to see the story
Mhm.
and the atmosphere. And you know what? The story is spot on. It's fantastic. The atmosphere, and part of the reason why I wanted to play the game was because all I wanted to do was watch Aliens 2. Or even better, Alien. But rather than break out the Blu-ray, I'm like, hey, I could have an interactive experience in that world. And then get slowly dragged to hell by this fucking asshole of a game. What's even worse, though, is when the alien does finally show up and start chasing you around. Because, like, the second major sector, it's a med bay, where you start really getting chased around
Mm-hmm.
by this thing in a freeform environment. You have such tight corridors that it's very easy to walk into the wrong room, be trapped in there with the alien literally coming down the hall, and that's it. You know, game over. And the checkpoint is so far back that it makes the whole sequence infuriating. So
basically what you're saying is the level design is such that it makes it exceptionally difficult.
But you know what?
But frustratingly so.
But you know what's the flip side to that? as an in canon sequel to the movies, every bit of that works. The narrow corridors, the U-turn of rooms, like that I all like from an aesthetic point of view. So the game is gorgeous, has great sound design, has great story, and story delivery is fantastic. I can't do the gameplay anymore. I think I'm gonna have to abandon the game, to be honest, or it's gonna be one that I pick up in months when I've forgotten how horrible it is.
But isn't the point of I mean, a lot of what Alien is just seeing the sheer horror of what's going on and kind of sort of you can't really I guess you can't really confront the aliens head on and a lot of the characters, and you're in a position where you're not Ripley or you're not a Colonial Marine. You're essentially kind of in a place where you need to, get the fuck out, and you're scrambling, but you don't have the skills nor the weaponry to do that. So if that's the atmosphere they were going with, I mean, I haven't played the game. I've seen some Blood Space, right? So that's the atmosphere I got from the game. So in a sense, atmospherically, it sounds like a logical sense to me.
Yeah, but the problem is that atmosphere can't dictate a game. It's too easy to get lost in the fact that this is an interactive storytelling media that you forget that behind it is a game that people actually have to enjoy. And it's going to be a tough sell for me to keep slogging through this kind of a hide and seek mechanic and really enjoy the rest of the story and the presentation that they've delivered to us. This is actually the same problem I had with The Evil Within, and why I bounced off of that game initially, because that whole first area is just a hide and seek game, because you start off hurt and hanging upside down by this butcher-like creature that's slaughtering your friends, and you just have no way of defending yourself until you hit this second area, which is in like a village full of campfires. But by the time I got to that area, the whole thing kept crashing on me, so I stopped playing because I was playing on PC, and for whatever reason, it just didn't want to go.
Is there enough of an exploration mechanic or an exploration in the game to make up for this?
The thing is that I haven't seen anything compelling to explore for. Yes, you can get blueprints, but the blueprints are actually not off the beaten path too far. And because you have a limited inventory space, which makes sense, but you're getting components pretty frequently as well as scrap, the two things that you need to put together to make items that you can use in the game, and those both together, like my inventory is full. There's literally no reason for me to not follow the critical path because I'm full up on noisemakers, flares, flashbangs, EMP mines, and medkits. But I've been walking around the game mostly dead health-wise because the Joes kill you pretty quickly, and the alien doesn't just like scratch you and let you walk away. It just chomps your face, and that's it.
Well, humans are squishy. That's so that kind of that the it could be that I hate to tell you this. Maybe you're just not built to play horror games.
I'm not sure about.
Fuck you, because I played the shit out of Resident Evil.
That's not a horror game.
No, but
I love my Resident Evil.
That's not a horror game.
But I kind of sort of agree with Joey just because
it's really really horror filled.
Well, okay, but the point I guess I'm trying to say is that like one of the major aspects of horror as a genre is a loss of control, or a loss of or a sense of disorientation, or a sense of just shit's happening, you can't really fucking do anything about it, so you're gonna run, scared. And I Alien Isolation fits that mold. I mean, if that's you're, I think, objecting to the entire design of the game, right? So,
in a sense, yes, I'm objecting to the fact that they give you the means of supposedly defending yourself, and from a gameplay standpoint, it's completely ineffectual.
Well, if
you're going to do that, you should at least teach the player, in a sense, that that's going to be ineffectual, And you kind of get that, I guess. Thinking back on it, there is a moment where somebody shoots a working Joe and it staggers but keeps coming. But there's no sense that, the guy's going to put a full chamber of revolver rounds into it, and it's still gonna come. He only shoots the thing once, and
Yeah,
then
but how are you?
stands there to get bashed into the wall.
But my
You know?
question is, how are you going to train the player to? I mean, we're used to we're used to playing in video games where if you have a weapon in your hand, you're able to dish out damage, right? And
Okay, I guess let me put it
but
this way.
the question is, but
Let
the
me-
point I'm
let-
trying to make is that
Uh-huh.
your argument is that it's unfair. But the question is that I have now in my head is, all right, how do you design a game where you teach the player
Checkpoints.
that's actually not
This kind of
I
game
guess-
is made or break on the checkpoint system that it surrounds itself with. I like the idea that the hard saves are based on this emergency phone that you use that also tells you if there are enemies nearby. But the fact that the entire sequence of the alien being exposed, you having to look for a critical path item, and then try to get out of the area is so long. We're talking. I skulked around for about 20 minutes trying to evade this alien, only to see my way to freedom and have the door shut on me by an NPC who literally said, I can't open the door with that thing in there. So what I thought was freedom was actually 20 minutes of lost progress. That's not fun. How many games have you played where the checkpoint system was that bad that you actually soldiered on with willingly, where you knew that if you died, you were going to lose 20 to 30 minutes of progress? Did you enjoy that? Does that sound enjoyable?
that does no, it doesn't. But I guess from my perspective,
Well, that's what I'm saying. A
I
game
mean,
like this
it-
is made or
it's a
break
different
on the kind of
perspective.
checkpoints that it sends you back to.
Did that?
Especially when you have
You've gotten
enemy
spoiled.
that's...
You've gotten spoiled because do we ever remember playing on an NES or a Sega Genesis any kind of game like a Mega Man or anything else where you didn't have a save file, you just kind of had a singular playthrough, and then if you died and ran out of lives, that was it. You had to start over again.
Yes, but you had checkpoints. Mega Man had really spaced out checkpoints that, in fact, if you died just before a checkpoint, you could actually get pushed forward to the next checkpoint, to the next major area. Same thing with, I can cite Power Blade as another example of that. I can also cite Ninja Gaiden, one of the hardest games, also has pretty generous checkpoints. And they're totally beatable if you have the right kind of diligence. And they don't require you to go through 20 minutes of something to lose a full 20 minutes
Well,
of
even
progress.
look at the original. Okay.
No, but I'm saying part of horror is that the thing that gets me about that is like, well, if it's a horror game and you're using the checkpoint system to essentially get limited lives out of the plays, then that defeats the point of horror, right?
I think we're beginning to get into a part where it's not the theme of the game that's wrong. It's what is the appropriate punishment for death in a video game? Should it be that you suck it up and you go all the way back to the beginning, or should it be that you feel like with every death you learn something and thus you progress a little further? That makes more sense to me, because that, especially in a post
But
Dark
that's a
Souls
false
era,
dichotomy
that's
that you just said there. You can learn something from starting over. Most roguelikes are like that. You start from the beginning.
yeah. But
Straight
most
from the
roguelikes
beginning.
are built on the predication that every run gives you something to aid in the next
Not
run.
always. There are also roguelikes out there that are predicated on you just having to start from scratch. Don't Starve is one. That's a roguelike essentially where you start from scratch.
No,
You
because
die,
you do gain
you-
other characters that have other pieces of
But-
equipment. You also get
But
other
if
pieces of
you-
equipment that you can
But
start
if
with.
you start, but the point is, if you die, you start from scratch. Maybe you get another character.
Okay,
but
can we
if
agree
you
that
just-
FTL is a roguelike?
FTL is a roguelike.
Can we agree that Darkest Dungeon is a roguelike?
Yes.
Can we agree that Rogue Legacy is a roguelike?
Okay. Yes.
Can we agree Ziggurat is a roguelike?
No.
So Joseph, no. But
No.
even if you
The point-
even if
the
you're
point
given
is-
options, you're
The
still,
point is,
you
in
still
those
start
games,
from the
you
start.
get something from every run that you can then feed back into the way that you play the next runs, and those help you to progress.
I think we're trying to.
and we can-
You're getting into the
we can
minutia
also-
of what makes game
Yes.
fun for one person might not necessarily make it fun for
I
others.
think that's the case too, because you could also say that Dwarf Fortress is also a roguelike, but you don't start with anything different. You start the same, and people play the shit out of Dwarf Fortress, and Dwarf Fortress like derivatives. So I think it's just it'll boil
Those,
down
those
to
games aren't really roguelikes. It's the same thing with Kingdom. They're not roguelikes. They're management sims, and that's a very different genre
Dwarf
from the roguelike.
Fortress. Well, Dwarf Fortress is a game that is essentially the spawn of various roguelike or roguelike hybrid games, and they all start off with the same premise of.
I
when you
don't think
die-
I don't think that's what a roguelike is, though.
And,
And
and-
actually,
and-
there is a convention for roguelike, by the way. If I'm not mistaken, there is actually a group of developers that kind of gets together and has a convention and sat down and defined what the roguelike is.
We'll need to. Okay, this might be a good for another episode because we're gonna get into a whole like
Long deep dive into
long,
yeah.
30-hour-long thing
Well,
with
well,
debates.
like I said, it sucks, and I probably won't end up playing it. I know it was a critical darling, and there's a lot to it that I liked in terms of the way that it presents the story and everything. It's got a very BioShock vibe to it, but when it gets down to it, the gameplay is just not fun, and that's a big problem.
And on that note, speaking of disappointment, Dan.
I have another
Oh no, this is going to go right up your alley, Dan. I got the chance to catch up on a couple of movies this last weekend. I got to catch up on Suicide Squad.
Ooh.
And actually, rather than doing what I usually do with bad movies, is sitting there and razzing the hell out of it. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll see what it is. I'll take my filmmaking hat off, and I'll just sit there as a audience member, and I'll just try to enjoy it. That didn't last long.
So when did you leave?
That left about 2 minutes in, when we had an introduction to two characters and then immediately had a reintroduction into the same characters. I'm not sure how much of the very opening you remember, but you're introduced to Deadshot and Harley Quinn at the very, very opening of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then the movie starts again with Amanda Waller explaining who everybody is again.
Oh, I love that part. That was probably my favorite part of the whole thing.
And then from there, you're explained who everybody is again when you meet everybody when they're brought together as a team. So you basically have 3 introductions in a row, to which, the first introduction, like, okay, that's not that bad an introduction, okay, fine. And then I was caught off guard with okay, so we're introducing them again, so why didn't we just start here? So by the time the third thing happens, I'm going, why didn't they just incorporate those into this introduction? It to me, it just rang of, like, bad editing. But by the time the third act kicked in, I was gone. I mean, that movie was a train wreck. It didn't know where it wanted to go. It didn't know what it wanted to be. It had no character development.
Shows up again, then definitely it falls apart.
Joker was terrible.
I love the Joker.
Oh, it was horrible. It was so satirical. The stupid moment where he takes his fucking hand with the tattoo of the smiling face and puts it in front of his mouth and talks, by the way, is so fucking stupid. I'm surprised that whoever by the way, they won a makeup Oscar for it, which I'll make another argument. But
it's an Oscar-winning movie, I'll have you know.
Oh, and it shouldn't have.
But it's an Oscar-winning movie.
Wait, as a reminder, what was the Oscar for again?
Best special effects and makeup.
Okay, so
Isn't that
okay.
for the Croc?
That was for Killer Croc, for Harley Quinn, and for Joker.
Good poll.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Well-
now I will say, Killer Croc was impressive.
Killer Croc was cool.
Killer Croc was cool. However, he was a useless character.
Yeah, he was.
Diablo, again, was a useless character. He basically has 2 scenes and nothing.
Yeah, but he got a kick-ass scene in the third act, and I love that.
Yeah, but that was one of those, well, why the hell didn't he do that earlier? And it was one of those, if they did that earlier, it's one of those,
would've died.
why? Makes no logical sense. And then,
Well,
like,
because he killed his family, so he's got trauma. He's a bad guy.
and it makes me not care. That's the problem with the movie, is the whole time you're beaten over the head with the fact that, hey, we're bad guys. We did bad things to good people. It's like, so why do I care?
You're like the person who doesn't cry at the end of Big Fish. You have no soul.
Yeah.
No, Big Fish sucked.
I didn't cry either.
Big Fish
I was
sucked.
told I had
And there are
to.
plenty of movies I cry at, God damn it! I still cry at the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy and the end. I still cry at Creed. There are plenty of movies I cry at. I will admit.
I cry at the end of Rogue One all the time.
Oh, that's an
Oh my
amazing movie. Yes.
No, I didn't cry at Rogue
that.
One. It was good. I didn't cry.
I cried at the end of Return of the Jedi.
I start
what?
crying when Vader starts cutting people down. That's when I start
Oh,
crying.
you mean tears of joy? No.
That was Tears of Joy.
It's
That
different.
was like
I'm talking about like openly weeping, like, oh my god. It's
I cried at Benjamin Button.
that's a movie you can.
okay. That's a movie you can cry at.
I did not cry at Big Fish.
No, you did not.
I have no soul. I'm sorry.
But no, but I did not enjoy Suicide Squad one bit, and it was kind of one of those. Oh wow, Wonder Woman looks so much better compared to this, and it's like it's a completely different universe.
Well,
You know.
I even told you before. I enjoyed Suicide Squad a lot, but not because it was a well-crafted, Dickensian tale. It's a terrible movie.
Oh,
and
it's a god awful
poorly
movie.
constructed,
Very
but,
poor.
you know.
Oh.
You can't really compare the two.
No.
It's a
Yeah.
well-crafted.
No, they're
Dickensian
totally different. It's D movie versus A minus B plus, and the issue I have with Suicide Squad is it just wasn't fun. I had a similar feeling like watching Independence Day Resurgence or whatever the fuck it was called. That was a terrible movie, and it's one of those. I was glad I didn't pay money to go see Suicide Squad because I would have been pissed. But
Turn of the Firecrackers.
I don't know. I don't. Well, I mean, but I also enjoyed the new Ghostbusters, but I wasn't expecting much out of that.
I caught some of that on Showtime this last week, and oh my god, that's don't get me. I'm gonna skip this because I'm gonna get into a rant, and I'm not gonna go there. Instead, I'll talk about a good movie I saw this weekend.
Rant.
Nope, not gonna do it.
I did my rant.
No, I already did my rant with Suicide Squad. I did my rant. But moving on from that rant, I'm going to talk about a good movie I saw this weekend that I caught up on. I finally caught up on Star Trek Beyond.
Yes,
Beyond is
excellent
awesome.
movie.
And I watched it. It was very enjoyable. I liked it very much.
Star Trek Fast and Furious. Okay.
I will admit.
It's
I will
not.
admit it was not a Star Trek movie. I'm not a huge Star. I'll admit I'm not a huge Star Trek fan.
How
I
is
think
it
it's
not-
more Star Trek than Star Trek. Than the
Yeah,
No.
it's
No.
more Star Trek than Star Trek Beyond and Star Trek. The second movie, I'm forgetting which one that was.
Oh,
Yeah,
Into Darkness.
so far. Yeah. So Star Trek Beyond is if you compare it to, in my opinion, like plot lines from the original Star Trek, the original series with Kirk and Uhura and Bones, Star Trek Beyond fits the mold.
Oh, absolutely. The story
Yeah.
absolutely fits. The thing to me is.
Be very careful what you say to me about this.
No, hold on, no.
Mhm.
I'm not. No, this is not a complaint. This is one of those. Just hear me out. Not being a gigantic Star Trek fan. My brother is a huge Star Trek fan. I'm not. I happen to fall into the Star Wars camp, but I'll sit and enjoy a good movie if it's a good movie. I liked the J.J. Abrams reboot, the first part of this new trilogy. I
That was
really
pretty
enjoyed that because that to me, it's like, oh, that pulled me right in, and I enjoyed that movie. I liked the world that they created. I liked the way they tied it into the old franchise, and it gave me a new appreciation for those movies. The second
Yes.
one, Into Darkness, it was okay, but I could see where they kind of butted up against the issue that they introduced in the first one, which was we're going to tell old canon in a new way, and they kind of got handcuffed by it. Totally
They should have
understand.
never brought in Khan.
Exactly.
Okay.
It was.
I
I got that.
Yeah.
Third
They
movie.
got a great actor for it. Too.
Absolutely.
I mean, they did. It's just one of those things where I guess. I mean, I can see what their thoughts are. In
Yeah.
terms of trying to
I could track
So
what they
what's
were
bring
doing. Yeah.
Federation into being, but I think it was a bit of a rehash.
It was. It absolutely was a rehash.
It was a blatant rehash, rather.
So that was a hiccup. That was a misstep. They understood that. So when they did the third one, they course corrected. So JJ didn't do it. It was Justin Lin from, like you said, Fast and Furious. It was a very enjoyable movie. I really liked it. I liked the characters. You didn't have to spend a lot of time doing more character development because you were with them for 2 movies, and so you got to enjoy their relationships this time around. So the interplay between everybody, when everybody gets separated, was great. The new characters were wonderful. I really enjoyed the female Jay Lee.
Give us the name. Nice.
Thank you. She was a great character. To me, though, that I could see where the complaints come in, where the Fast and the Furious Star Trek is they kind of shoehorn that motorbike scene in there a little bit, and then there's a little too much action and not enough diplomacy. Like from traditional Star Trek, it's a little bit more talking, a little less action. The action was phenomenal. But
Which, if you compare it to the original Star Trek series, I think the level of action was the same in comparison. So, I remember hearing, or someone had said, I forgot from where, but essentially, Star Trek Beyond is a Star Trek the original series episode.
Yes.
2016, 2-hour-long format. Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, what was the form of diplomacy that Kirk usually used in Star Trek the original series? It was usually with a fist. So
Fist and bedding the green ladies.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So
Yes.
there was no bedding
So
of green
it's
ladies in
fist
this one. That
Loving
wasn't.
his way through the universe.
That's right.
That's what the Federation is all about, guys. Loving your way through the universe.
That is logical, Captain.
Bow bow.
Bow chicka bow wow.
But yeah, so like I don't understand that complaint.
It's not a real complaint, to be honest. It's not a real huge
it's-
complaint.
Quibble.
It's a minor quibble.
Quibble.
It's a tribble.
It's a quibbling tribble. Hey, that could be our rock band name, the Quibbling Tribble,
Oh yes.
or the Quivering Tribble.
I think the quibbling tribble is better.
I got a movie that we saw over the weekend that was pretty good.
What's that?
A little Ron Howard title named Willow.
Oh, you caught up on Willow again.
Yeah, I took it out of my DVD box and said, let me watch this. And I forgot just how great that movie is. And it actually restored my faith in Ron Howard. I told you, I don't remember him doing Willow. So, knowing that he did just Apollo 13 and Alamo, I didn't have high hopes for him taking over for the Han Solo movie. But now watching Willow and all of its The Bones Tell Me Nothing.
Yes.
Now I see good things.
What do you want
for
them
the
to
Han Solo
say?
movie. I want someone to call Han Solo a nerf herder in this, just to add a little extra canon that he's been called it once before. So when someone calls him scruffy looking again, he's like, "Hey, I didn't like the
you
guy
gonna
who
put
said
that
that
on
the
your
first time."
resume?
I mean, I am scruffy looking, but
Are you a scruffy looking nerf herder? Is that going on your resume now?
I'm a scruffy looking rocket herder. That's what I am. I guess
This
that
guy-
sounds out of context
this-
for the listeners.
that's-
Rocket is the name of the beagle dog.
The house
I take
dog.
care of at home. It's the one I yell at when he barks. Always barks.
All dogs bark. Okay, maybe
Yeah,
not
he's
all
loud.
dogs, but he barks. Yes.
He barks a lot.
Yeah, and
And how?
really loudly. I think he's asleep somewhere right now.
Don't jinx it.
Lost track of him.
Don't jinx it. Now while we're recording, we'll poke him with a stick later, see if he's okay.
Mel, what about you? What have you been up to looking at?
Oh Lord, the Steam sale.
Oh yes, I keep looking at it, going,
Steam sale
oh,
as
what
it
am I not going to buy?
crashes.
Oh, are
He's
you still not
crashing.
able to access the store? I couldn't do it last night.
Well, I accessed it very slowly.
Have you been having trouble looking up the Steam library?
Mm-hmm. I tried to load a game and it wouldn't do it. I tried to load Fallout 4 and nothing was working. Every time I tried to load it, it would go back to the play screen.
Oh no, I think your computer is starting to do to tell you things.
No, I had the
Oh,
same problem
yeah.
last night, but I didn't try to load anything. I just tried to click around the store to see what was available on
Are
the
you
sale.
sure you don't have a poltergeist in your house? Because you have the weirdest problems between you.
No, I have a dog
I'm
that
pretty
pees
sure
on my
we do
Ethernet.
have a poltergeist, but that's not causing this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dog pee on the Ethernet cable shouldn't affect it. I don't think.
I don't know. We need a ruling on that.
We need an experiment. You guys should experiment this.
Well, look, I'm the
Yeah.
biochemist in the house, so I say that it doesn't affect the plastic. There's
I'm,
not enough urea or acidity in it. So
no
there.
one is peeing on the internet cables.
Damn it!
Oh, there goes that idea. That video. Fun.
Oh boy, this got to
The
a very.
point is, he could if he wanted to. So
Well, we have something we can do for Ted's birthday.
Oh,
No,
wow.
you're not doing that.
Oh, no fun.
I thought his
You
birthday
will
was
do that.
going to be the donkey show. I thought we all had agreed that we were going to give him like a Clerks 2 birthday.
We can't do that in New York.
We're not in Tijuana.
We're not in Tijuana, exactly.
I'm sure there are things that are legal across the border.
Well, not yeah,
I'm
exactly,
sure.
not stateside, but oh yeah, across the border we could totally do stuff.
I'm staying out of that one.
What?
mean-
you don't want to see a donkey show?
No, thank you.
Look, we have to just pay for our very, very high premium if that's what happens. But here, if, however, you want to transport the podcast to Tijuana for a special podcast on that date, maybe we're talking. Well, maybe we'll talk about it.
Live from Lulu's Copacabana and Donkey Show.
The donkey is named Lulu.
Shh.
That is the twist.
That just brings in a very, very dark place.
What a twist!
How is our boy M. Night Shyamalan? He's doing anything lately, or is he just like
Well,
basking?
he's working
in
on
the
the
last film?
he's working on the he's got all that split money and all that good vibes from that opening and that very well received film that he's going to be working on a split sequel, which will tie into the Unbreakable universe. Because if you spoilers, 5, 4, 3, 2, spoilers, Split fits into that universe.
Are we getting a sequel to Unbreakable finally?
That's what Split is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then from there we're getting a third movie in that universe. So again, spoilers. 3, 2. Okay, good. Bruce Willis shows up in Split.
Oh, I didn't know
Where,
that.
Yeah,
when Split?
and at the end he shows up in the third act. So that's what helps tie it into Unbreakable. It's the same character. And
So wait, is the next movie supposed to be on Mr. Glass? I think.
yeah, but it's
Samuel
all
Jackson's character?
but it's all three characters. So it's James McAvoy from Split, Bruce Willis, and Sam Jackson.
Huh.
Interesting.
So it was kind of his way of going, okay, I'm going to write a whole new thing, and I'm going to sneak this little bit in. So if the movie is successful, this is kind of my backdoor to get to a Unbreakable sequel. So it was one of those shockers, like, hey, if you stuck with M. Night Shyamalan through the years and you went to go see this movie, you got a really good surprise.
All right. Well, very cool.
And other
I
cool.
think the last of his movies I liked was The Village. I don't think I.
I didn't like The
after that.
Village. I liked Sixth Sense. I liked Unbreakable. The
that was it. That was it for me. I like those two. And that's it.
I like the others.
what was the other one? What was the one with Mark Wahlberg?
Was that the tree one?
That was the tree one. Yeah, that was weird.
That had John Leguizamo in it.
John
too.
Leguizamo. Yeah, it had a decent cast, but it was just a weird premise. Like the plants started killing people, and driving people crazy. It was very
Well,
strange.
Like they do.
They do.
I'm looking at you, Nightshade.
That's right.
Hmm.
Those damn
But,
berries.
no,
They
but
were-
yeah, and Lady in what was it? Lady in the water, Lady in the lake, Lady in the pool, swimming pool with Paul Giamatti. That movie was also very strange, although very meta because it was all about screenwriters.
Well, that's like Stephen King. He always writes about writers. So,
Yeah, that's true.
like, I think the other half was about a writer. There are writers in the Dark Tower series.
Yeah.
Like
The
he's
Shining.
literally in
Yeah.
his own Dark Tower series. Like they go to Maine to go find Stephen King to help solve the mystery of the Dark Tower.
Oh yeah, that's right. I mean, okay, Stephen King.
He's in his
Oh,
own universe.
Yeah.
I love Stephen King, but that's hubris.
Are you
That's-
gonna go see the new Dark Tower movie in August?
Absolutely. Oh my god.
What'd you think of the trailer?
I love that man, Idris Elba. And McConaughey as the Man in Black. Yeah. He
Okay.
was. You know what sold me on McConaughey for that role was actually Magic Mike, because he starts as such a
A likable
really
guy, yeah.
likable guy, and then at the end of it, he's treating everyone like shit.
Yep.
Like it's a business, and it's like you just see that side of him, and I'm like, that's a nice range for a man who's just all right,
Yep.
or Cadillacs are a dream. It's like
Is it Cadillac or is it?
I think it was Cadillac.
Is it
wasn't
Cadillac? No. I don't know. Is it Cadillac or is it Lincoln? I think no, it's Lincoln.
Oh, it's Lincoln.
It's
Yeah,
Lincoln.
you're right. Lincoln,
that's,
American car.
that's right.
Oh my god, that.
All right,
commercial's so good.
all right. Buy Lincoln.
Right.
But I'm super excited for that. But first, I think we're getting Valerian next, aren't we?
Yes, Valerian will come up before then.
Oh my god, I love that.
That looks good. I mean, I hope it does well. I really do. And I think they're also hoping it does well because Europa's kind of needing that money. Because
Well,
they
I think this movie's going to fall victim, though, to something that I was worried about with Ghost in the Shell. There are so many things that link back to the property of Valerian as like, oh, I love this as a kid, so I drew inspiration from it and I made my own thing as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
That in this time, like people will look at it and say, hey, that looks a lot like Mass Effect. That looks a lot like this. That looks a lot like that. And it diminishes the movie because, that's where everything came from.
No, I think the problem
came from that. And so seeing it, it's like, oh, this movie just rips off all these other movies. It's like, but wait, this is where it all came from, guys.
Yeah, but I think the Ghost in the Shell's problem wasn't that kind of thing where it's like, oh, well, it's aping all these other movies. Ghost in the Shell's problem was, at the very core, it was a very bad story with a very horrible twist at the end, which made it even worse. And then that just wrapped up in the controversy of the initial casting. It had a big, 30-pound cinder block wrapped around its ankle and tossed in the water before it even got started.
I don't know. I really like that casting. That was exactly the actress that I wanted for that.
Listen, I had no problem with her being cast. The story that they told did not help. I think it would have been served so much better had they told the story differently. So, again, spoilers. Instead of having the reveal where she was a Japanese woman put into a white girl's body, and kind of having her identity taken, you could do it so that it starts out as Scarlett Johansson, and at the end she gets put into a Japanese woman's body, and that's the Major that you know. But you could have it both ways, where she started out as Japanese, she was a white girl for this time, and then she was back to something else. So that way you make the race not an issue. Instead, they decided to make it a focal point of the story, where you literally whitewash the main character and the villain, making them both, Asian people being put into white people's bodies, which is not a story you want to mass market to an audience these days. It doesn't play, so that's why it didn't do well. Am I alone on the pulpit here?
I think I'm going to let you die on that hill.
I'm not alone up here on this hill. There's a lot of people who agree with me. And that's why it didn't do well. I wanted this movie to do well, and I was really psyched about it. But once I caught wind of what the story was and everything else, I knew that there was sand falling under their feet.
There's a lot there that can make for a compelling experience, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm just biding my time. It was the same thing with Lucia. Lucia I wanted to see in theaters, but never got around to it. Yeah. So. Ultimately, the movie exists.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad it didn't spawn a franchise, because right now what they're doing with the Ghost in the Shell anime is kind of weird. I think they should have stopped at second gig rather than trying to continue to give more in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said nowadays, but maybe not everything has to be a franchise. Not everything has to sit there and go on forever. Like, we're getting to the point now, we're going to have 10 Fast and the Furious movies. Do we really need 10?
Yes.
According to the fans of that series, yeah.
According to Michelle Rodriguez, she's like, "Hey, you better make women a better, represent women better in the next 2 movies, or I'm out."
I can see where that needs to be said.
Yeah, there's been a big injection of testosterone into that series the last couple of episodes.
Will they actually but the series could be long-standing enough that they might not even need her at this point and just cast someone else.
Yeah, but that doesn't help the issue. I mean, their target audience is male, but the problem is, women are 52% of the viewing public. And when you look at something like a Wonder Woman, which, by the way, just broke DC records, it's...
Well, I'm not 568 million so far?
I'm not saying that it's not something they ought... I'm not saying this is something they ought to do. They should. My question is given its current success, and it's already 8th movie?
8 movies in, yeah.
Yeah, 8 movies in. They've already settled on a formula.
Yeah, but this last one didn't do as well as the one before it. The one before it, 7, did bonkers numbers. I don't think 8. I think 8 kind of limped its way toward that region, but I don't think I think it took a big hit first weekend that they didn't expect. I mean, it still did business. It still did big money, but it just didn't live up to the previous one.
Yeah, so my thing with that is, okay, so they're going to either hit a fork in the road and say, like, let's change direction, or B, let's go fucking bigger.
I mean, to me, they should have ended it with what was it, 7, when Walker died. because they had an
Yes.
actual brilliant ending. I'm not a huge fan of the franchise, but watching that movie and seeing how they ended that movie, it was a perfect swan song and it was a perfect way to go out. And it just seemed like 8 was a big money grab, and 8 was
They're
a big
all
money
big
grab.
money grabs.
Oh yeah,
They're
but there's a
all
way
big
of
money
doing it
grabs.
to handle it well.
I understand, but all I'm trying to, I guess I'm pessimistic on them changing their tune.
Oh, I don't think they are either.
Yeah, because my thing is, well, if you're given a choice, I think with that franchise, if the choice is let's go more hardcore and go balls to the wall, more with whatever it is that they want, versus let's change direction into some weird, strange territory, they're gonna go more balls to the wall, quote unquote, in air quotes.
I wouldn't mention like balls anymore with that franchise because I think they have enough of them swinging around with that franchise.
All
You mean
testosterone all the time.
Testosterone.
So, but going back
It's
to
the
Wonder
San
Woman,
Fernando
yeah,
treat.
Dan, they so far global take is 660 million on Wonder Woman, and it's going to probably make another 30 or so this weekend, which will push it past 350 million domestic, which will be the best performing DCEU film. So it'll surpass Man of Steel and Batman v Superman domestically. So it'll be the best performing film in that series. Which makes Justice League kind of stand out as are they going to go backwards, or is they going to build momentum?
You know, I don't appreciate your efforts to redirect the podcast to news. I kind of enjoy this delightful argument.
It wasn't directing it to news. It was actually part of the conversation. Listen, we've been talking about...
You've ruined this conversation now.
I didn't ruin it.
Trying to,
to shoehorn numbers in?
show notes and...
It's not back to show notes. I was just trying to bring up the damn thing that I wanted to talk about in the first place. Screw you. It's important, God damn it.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, though, let's circle back to Mel. Besides being unable to load a game, did you play anything this
Talk
week?
about going off the path. Holy shit, yeah. Let's go back to Mel.
Or anything?
Hold on. Sorry. Slight diversion there. I did play a bit of Don't Starve and what else?
Weren't you playing Kingdom a little earlier?
Oh yeah, I did play Kingdom Classic. And I herded my deer and they got slaughtered.
As they do.
And
Did you survive?
Yeah. I have one going. I have Stone Fortress, I guess. Stone walls. My initial king died, and I have a queen right now.
Is this still the same playthrough you had before, or is this a new one?
It's the one I had before. It was the end of the one before, and then I started a new one.
Is it easy to go back to, or do you find it like jarring?
No,
When you
it's
haven't
easy
played in
to
a
go
while.
back to. I don't even know how many kings and queens I've lost at this point.
Yeah, I recently started back up with Fallout 4 after being away from it for a little while, and it was a little jarring, and I was like, wait, what was I doing again? So it took me a few minutes to figure out what the hell I was doing or what the hell I had. But that yeah.
I hate dropping off on narrative games for that reason. It's just... Which has got me afraid that I'm probably going to go back and play Alien Isolation probably tonight again.
Oh, just because you don't want to fall out?
Because then I'll have to do the whole thing from the beginning again. And that was already arduous enough.
So that means next time you need to talk about your post.
That's right. We have to keep
experience.
trying to pull blood from this stone. We have to see how far you can get
Exactly.
before you go mad.
You have to squeeze it dry. Squeeze.
This is my misery.
Squeeze.
This is your Waterloo. This
This
is
is the hill that you die on.
This is the hill you die on.
I have other games.
Is that the name of the episode, by the way? The hill we die on.
The
I think
Yeah.
think that's
That
what-
is Dan's favorite phrase, by the way. He does point out that we all have our hills that we die on.
Where the hell are we living that we have this many goddamn hills? And why are there so many
Um,
goddamn bodies?
There are a lot of hills in New York City.
And apparently some of them do have a lot of bodies under them.
Ooh.
I live near one, so
Well,
Bodies or hill?
I,
Both.
both.
No.
I mean, some of us went to school next to that park that is like a Civil War back.
No.
Civil War,
It is
yeah.
a- it
No,
is-
that's
it is
Revolutionary
expensive.
No, it's
War.
Revolutionary War.
No.
Oh, okay.
One of those
Revolutionary
wars.
War.
Oh
It
no,
was-
it's
it
We're
was
American.
war.
It's a war every 5 minutes.
It's a Spanish-American War memorial for the USS Maine, I believe. When
I
that
thought
ship
the,
blew
it
up,
has a. Oh, I see.
I thought it was
that
revolutionary.
was the mast. I don't think it was a Revolutionary War.
No.
If it could be that because it could be related to the barges.
Okay, I'm
prison
googling this
ship.
to solve this.
Prison ship, mass grave, from what I remember. From the British prison ships.
Nice.
It's
I think the
not
point is that there are people buried under there, and it's memorialized, and it's a park next to a
Oh.
school. Very lovely.
Not for long.
Mel's
from what
memory
I
is better than
remember,
mine.
They're going to turn it into. They're going to redo the park, and
Are they gonna move the bodies?
I don't know if they realize there are bodies in there.
You moved the headstone, but you didn't move the bodies.
There's only one giant memorial stone, and they think the park is ugly, or the headstone is ugly, the memorial. So they're going to turn it into. It doesn't get national park status.
I think this is just a key for our listeners that when the zombie apocalypse comes and the dead rises from the cemeteries, stay away from that park. Stay away from like downtown Brooklyn.
Just stay away from most of Queens, considering how big Calvary Cemetery is.
Oh yeah, that thing is ginormous.
Massive.
I thought Greenwood was massive.
No,
but-
Calvary's huge and
So
old.
for our listeners, type Google Cavalry Cemetery, right, and you'll see a side that's of a cemetery that's larger than some towns. So yes, when the
That's
zombie
right.
apocalypse
So don't mess
comes-
with Queens because we have more dead people than you have in your entire. Wait, that doesn't.
Wow.
That doesn't work.
Wow. What about Forest?
How about that NES Classic Mini, guys?
Wait a minute. Did you just berate me for trying to drag news into this podcast? And here you go trying to just segue your own stuff in.
You're
Yes,
talking about Queens
you did.
having more dead bodies.
I was talking about Wonder Woman, and you're sitting there going, "Oh, don't bring up news that's in the notes." And instead, you go, "Oh, hey, look at my stuff."
It's because I was having a delightful argument with TJ over the definition of a roguelike and horror games, and you had to go ahead and stick your nose in it.
Well, yeah, because
This
otherwise we'd be
segment-
spending 3 hours talking about whether something is or isn't a roguelike game.
Well, we're like
Alright.
45 minutes into that argument. So.
This segment is brought to you by Raised Body Burial. You rack 'em, we stack 'em.
There's
Oh.
a great comedic group called the Firesign Theater, and one of the things that they actually have is a character that they do called Ralph Spoilsport. He actually goes on to sell like body parts from clones to you, and it's a really hysterical bit. And I forgot what record it's on,
Oh,
but
that helps
it's-
our audience out tremendously, by the way.
it's designer clone-ons and things like that. I'll have it for you by the next podcast. But it was that's exactly what that reminded me
Is
of.
it
Yeah,
the
if we-
hammer one?
It's the Bride of Firesign. That's what it is.
Oh, it's that one.
Yeah, because that's
It's not the what is it? Don't kill
oh,
that
don't crush that
dwarf.
dwarf. Pass me the pliers.
Yeah.
That one's a weird one, but that one's
Yeah,
one's a
if
good
we
one
if we
for,
could
like,
if we could find a
transmedia
link to
stuff.
that, we'll put it in the show notes.
Good luck.
Or
Luckily, a
not.
lot of that stuff is available on Amazon. So if you want to purchase an MP3, it's pretty easy.
It's a Bride of Firesign.
Bride of Firesign.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, hold on. Google. I'm on Google right now. It is. Yes, it is on Amazon Music. You can get the audio CD for $18.
Oh wait, are we selling shit now? Is that what this podcast has come to? Something to hawk
I
shit
am
on
trying-
Amazon?
Okay,
Well,
I'm trying
if
to
TJ
convince
had
you
gotten
that-
off his ass and actually gotten us that affiliate link, we would be rolling in it.
Look, this is part of our future marketing campaign that's starting now. We're trying to convince sponsors
I think we're just fans.
sponsor us.
I'm a fan.
Yes.
I'm a
I
fan.
mean, TJ is the closest to us to actually having a business degree of some sort. So it falls on
That-
him to do all that
That's
kind
because
of
there's
stuff.
an M at the start of my degree. It does not mean I'm any closer to a business degree.
Ah!
Yes.
You got me in the mouth.
We have a member down.
Oh no.
Quickly, someone run over and oh, what's the button to revive them? Is that F?
I think it's F or G. I can't remember.
Oh,
Potions.
no. G throws the grenades. Don't throw the grenades.
You just threw a lizard. Rocket's got it.
Oh well, it's all gonna loose.
Throwing the Phoenix down.
I've been slimed.
Dog activity.
Oh boy.
In D&D terms, you would have failed your initiative roll or your awareness.
I think he just rolled a higher initiative than me.
No, I think he just ate. I think he ate the dice.
He's fast.
He's fast.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I guess with like the last couple of minutes we have of the show, why don't we start going through some of these news bites that
Why?
Why?
you so
I
wonderfully.
See,
still-
you
I
still
have to have
you
my-
berated
I-
me
I-
for trying to drag show notes into this show and try to pull it away from something organic, and here you are going, oh, let's look at the show notes.
I'm a fickle man.
Fickle.
And,
You are.
I'm
So I'm going to talk about what I actually did for the past week.
Why?
Oh yeah, we haven't talked to
Because-
Ted. What did you do,
Exactly.
He's got 5 minutes to talk about what he
No,
does.
not for this. We have maybe like an hour-long discussion about what I did.
Ted? Well, this might be why like podcasts are like 3 hours long because they take like an
Yes.
hour to do all of this stuff.
So
Okay, that's it for our show this week. So
Yes. I've been on YouTube, and two games that have caught my eye since before E3 has been the new BattleTech game, the Kickstarter backer beta battle.
oh, BattleTech, yeah, I saw that.
Yes. So that should be exciting for anyone who's interested in this series. I mean, I watched the original cartoon series when I was younger. I've read some of the books. I've downloaded some of the source material and read through them. And it's a very, very exciting game. It's being developed by Harebrained Schemes,
Mhm.
the same people that brought you the Shadowrun games in the past couple of years. It should be exciting for anyone who's actually interested in the BattleTech, because the same person who owns Harebrained Schemes, one of the original owners, is Jason Weisman, the person who owns FASA Corporation, who developed BattleTech way back in the day. So there's a lot of very good bones in the development of the game.
And also, they just revive MechWarrior not that long ago,
Yes,
and that did very well.
So what happened is MechWarrior Online, which is the MMO game, the same art. I wouldn't say design, or assets,
Yes.
rather, were loaned to help the development of this game.
Yes.
So this game has a lot of forward progression towards it. It might actually sit under the radar, and
Mhm.
it may be 5 or 6 months. But if you're actually interested in let's say, miniature gaming, or turn-based strategy gaming, or just a good game, because Harebrained Schemes has developed some really good games over the past few years, it should be something that we should all be aware about. And it should come. It will be one of those things where, like, XCOM was a sleeper hit. This has a game that has, in my opinion, the many hallmarks of what could be a sleeper hit. And this is just the skirmish mode. And people are like excited about the skirmish mode. You still have to develop the overworld view, the campaign that's related to it. Basically, you're going to be able to run a mercenary crew that gets to do everything that you want as a mercenary crew in the BattleTech universe. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, so that I pretty much just went on the screed. And then the other game I've been listening to has been, I've been watching a YouTuber called Jive Turkey, playing a game called Cold Waters. So Cold Waters is a game based off submarine combat. So think like Hunt of Red October, think Los Angeles class submarines in 1980s world warfare. Essentially, you're playing a game where you're playing a sub and you're hunting Russian subs in some type of Cold War conflict. And it just so happens the YouTuber is also a submariner. So he actually knows his shit and can actually comment on stuff that he's actually experienced in the Cold War while playing the game, and relates to that.
Well, that's fascinating. That's
Yeah.
actually kind of interesting.
So it's like he'll talk about stuff that he could have been part of. For example, if people want to look up the Murmansk incident, which is a submarine that was sank in the middle, a Russian sub that sank at somewhere in the middle of the 2000s. Google that. He might and might not have been part of that. So it's some pretty interesting stuff.
Very
So
cool.
if you're into yeah, if you're into a different type of military sim, that's Cold Water is up, and him in particular as a YouTube streamer who's been playing this game sounds should it's worth your interest in some time. So that's what I've been up to. No rant involved. I just ranted right now. So go on with the show notes, guys. Go on right now.
And then there was silence.
with that there was silence.
And the show dies. Thank you, everybody. This has been a lovely time recording these episodes, but I guess we'll stop.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty much a good spot to end it for this week before we train on and on about.
But we have news. Can we at least do some news?
I guess.
Can we do it in 5 minutes?
Okay,
Yes,
look.
go
There's one major thing that I want to rant about.
Okay, let's go.
About news.
Is this
And
the
that's-
NES?
No, this is actually the Call of Duty one.
Yeah, okay. This we could talk about.
So, Modern Warfare Remastered, like we all suspected, gets its fucking standalone release.
Because everybody was clamoring for it from the get.
And now, it was held hostage for a year with Infinite Warfare. And now we get it by its own self. This is what bugs the shit out of me. It's going to be sold for $40 by itself. And on top of that, do you remember the map pack that was released for Modern Warfare, the Variety map pack?
Yeah, I bought that first day.
Yeah, it's not built in. You
What?
have to pay another $15 to get that DLC.
So,
On top of that, they've already patched in microtransactions to the game.
So in essence, to play the game that was held hostage, that everybody was clamoring for, that's now currently remastered, I have to pay for a whole new game.
Yeah.
That's a shitty deal.
So basically that's a shitty deal for the people who paid the $60 price tag to get Infinite Warfare just so they could get Call of Duty Remastered.
80. It was.
That's right,
yeah,
$80. That's right. That's right.
Limited edition.
That's right. So you paid $80 to get the game. So now what they're going to do is launch it on its own for half that price.
Mm-hmm.
And then screw those people who didn't invest in having to basically nickel and dime them to get the stuff that was in the full release with Infinite Warfare. Is that correct?
Yep.
Wow.
What bugs me is that if this was one of the other remasters where you got an improvement to not just graphical fidelity but frame rate, I would say, okay, this is something that's worth a shot. But you can just pick up Modern Warfare now and play the original discs on the PS3 or the Xbox 360, and guess what? Those games ran at 60 for the single player, and they ran at 60 for the multiplayer. Yes, they don't support the multiplayer anymore, but if all you wanted was that cinematic experience of the single player, you could do that now for pennies.
Chernobyl.
Well, here. On Steam, currently, right now, as I'm looking, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is $10 on Steam during the Steam sale. After that,
go.
wait, full price, $20.
$20.
$20.
If you want all of the Modern Warfare franchise, which, by the way, is Modern Warfare 1, 2, the Resurgence pack for 2, the Stimulus map pack for 2, Modern Warfare 3, plus their 3 or 4 collections, that all total is $70 on Steam.
And that's probably worth a better buy.
That's a better buy than,
buying this microtransaction out nonsense
Yeah.
again. I mean, I already had a problem with the Modern Warfare progression system in the fact that it took forever to get guns that felt worth a damn. Then in the end, I was like, okay, this is not so bad because Battlefield had a much worse system for getting shit that you wanted. So okay, I could deal with this again. But once they started adding DLC shit to like Battlefield, to Black Ops 3, I'm like, this is the end of times. And then they pull this shit and start adding microtransactions to a fucking remastered edition of something. It's like they can't just leave the past alone. It's like, no, we gotta jazz it up with microtransactions.
They have to monetize it and money grab it because they have They know.
But hold on, they don't have to money grab it because the whole idea of releasing it as a standalone is technically the money grab. Because they could have just left it alone as part of the Infinite Warfare and sold more copies of Infinite Warfare just for the remaster. But instead, they're going to undercut their own sales on Infinite Warfare, and then sell the remaster, and then undercut those sales by having all these additions. It makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense to us, and I agree with that.
I don't think it makes sense to them. I think they're just looking at it and go, people have been clamoring for a standalone, fine, we'll give them a standalone, but we're not going to give them the full thing.
And that's the reason why I say it's a money grab, because if you could just give it to us, okay, you can just give it to us at a certain price point, but you gave it to us at this rather premium price point. At its core, it's a very short-sighted money grab, right?
Look, if it was a premium product, I would say, it could command the premium price. But at this point, when we're probably getting less content than something like, say, the Jack and Daxter trilogy on the PS Vita, it's just it boggles the mind where people would think that, where people at Activision are like, hey, we can sell this for $40 and people will buy it. And the worst part is, I'm pretty sure people would buy it.
And you know what? I think I'm finally up to Womble's opinion of boycotting Activision until they have better business practices. Because
then you might as well lump in Take-Two with that as well.
Yeah,
they're
not doing so hot either. But then again, I can't remember the last Take-Two game I bought.
I don't remember any game from Take-Two that I've gotten in the past 5 years.
Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, I haven't. So I didn't get the last.
I didn't get the last one either, just because it just didn't. I just didn't get to it, and now it's so far beyond, and I'm just not really that interested.
So
I got into Grand Theft Auto with 3, and I got out of it with Vice City, and then that was it for me.
Really? I was in it from 3, 4.
4.
Vice City was fine. But yeah, and then I just didn't get 5. I mean, that's But I had no problem with any of them really. But that's a whole other conversation.
Well, they turned 5 into a cash vampire, and then, we're, according to the CEO, we're all just wood to chop. And
I think that's why, subconsciously, I was like, I don't really need this game because I have all these other games I can play instead. Maybe that's what it was. That could very well be it.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I have my giant purple dildo.
All right.
Oh, Saints Row.
Oh, Saints Row.
Yeah.
I never liked Saints Row. I mean,
Saints Row is hysterical. Well, did you play 3 or 4?
I played 3 because I think I stole Mel's save file and I played around with that.
Oh, I see.
It's hilarious.
3 was hysterical. 4 is even better.
I think for me, it's too out there. It's too satirical. So for me, it's no, these kinds of games have to take themselves seriously. Damn it, I can't have this goofy shit.
And this is why you didn't enjoy Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Or Ghostbusters.
Hey, listen.
The from Mel. You are too serious.
Listen.
Why so serious?
Hence why you're our host. And you follow the show notes.
And you know what? I liked the shit out of the original Ghostbusters. I don't need a remake. That to me was a money grab.
Nobody needed a remake.
No.
Nobody really was asking.
And especially one of poor quality. And no, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not going there. You're not gonna get me to rant. Okay, you got me to rant on this. So.
All right.
Look, nobody needed a movie that had an absurd title of "Answer the Call." It's like
as the subline, yeah.
It's like wait, what? Which call? Who's calling?
Who's calling? Calling? Is this collect? Is it what? Who's billing this? I don't understand.
It's Do you guys remember that Eminem song? Shit, which one? Without Me, the one where he pretends to be like Batman and Robin with Dre in the video.
Yeah.
There's a line in that. Who sent? You sent for me? That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? Who's doing what now?
Damn it! Now that song is stuck in my head. Thank you for that, by the way. I haven't heard that song in what has it been? 12 years?
It feels so empty without me.
Oh, I fucking hate you.
Na 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 na, na 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 na, na 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 na.
Oh god.
Na, na, na.
You are so lucky I don't have individual control of your microphone. God.
I'm answering the call, Rocket. Lie down.
That's a whole other call. Nature.
The dog is ready. He ain't afraid of no ghost.
Oh boy.
No, I think someone's outside.
Oh, is he standing on the couch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the dog likes to just stand on top of the couch.
Yeah, let's not end the podcast with, I wonder if somebody's outside. No, it's probably not a good way to end the podcast.
And then they were never heard from again.
Dun dun.
All right, so guys, do you want to go over the show notes that we had here very quickly, or should we just?
I'm debating what to call this episode, whether it's going to be called actually show notes or if it's going to be called,
It should be
The
called
Hill I Die On.
Well,
We call it the Hill I Die
I
On.
mean, we did go through Wonder Woman and her dominance. What's this Oats studio opens?
Since we're going to actually comb through this actual physical show notes and
Oh,
drive...
is that Neil?
That's Neil Blomkamp's
Blomkamp?
studio, yeah.
Okay.
So to briefly touch on this, Neil Blomkamp, who directed District 9, Elysium, and Chappie, has decided to
those
open up
films.
his own kind of quasi-independent studio for independent filmmakers to basically play around and give them access to tools and people to collaborate with to try to bring more art out into the world. And with Oates, they are releasing the first season of these kinds of experimental films, these experimental shorts. They're releasing them for free on YouTube and Steam. And so far, they've launched, I think, 3 or 4 shorts. First one was Raka, which I believe was directed by Neil Blomkamp himself. Was interesting. They had a short about it was like a cooking show. It reminded me very much of a moment like if you were flipping through a commercial on while watching RoboCop. It was very much in that vein. The newest one, I think it's Firebase, just launched today on YouTube. I haven't had a chance to check that out, but overall, I think it's a great idea for them to try to take independent directors and give them a space to play.
I've liked a lot of Neil Blomkamp stuff, mostly because he's got a lot of chops for someone who can do, excellent CG, well-directed shots for that CG on pretty much... those got to be limited budgets, at least what he was doing in the beginning.
In the very beginning, absolutely, yeah.
So what he did with those is like, okay, yeah, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. It's like finding a director that actually knows how to shoot in 3D. It's like you hold on to that guy and you give him some good toys to play with, So, it's really cool that he, is given back to where he got his shot, which was a couple of those. I even forgot the name of his short that he that put him on the map.
You mean the one that got him almost got him the Halo job?
That got him the Halo job until they scuttled the project.
Yeah, that's a whole other problem.
Yeah.
But so the focus of the studio is to kind of put this content out there for free and get everybody's tongues wet. And then perhaps second season they'll go to a subscription-based service, so like you can kind of pitch in to help support these guys. And if you kind of like this kind of thing, so that way you don't have to sit there and go, hey, I'm keeping this stuff under wraps for myself, and hey, you have to pay to see it. Instead, it's kind of like this is open advertising for this is the kind of stuff we want to get into, and this is the stories we want to tell, or maybe want to explore these kinds of ideas. Will you be willing to pay for that? You tell us. And coming back the second season, probably on Steam or YouTube Red or YouTube proper, and going, if you pitch us some money, you can help support these independent filmmakers and these ideas, and we can make some really cool stuff.
That's awesome.
But I mean, definitely check out those videos on YouTube under Oats Studios. There's some. I mean, they are experimental films, so some of them can get a little weird narratively. They're not necessarily set up the same proper way as like a beginning, middle, end. But they explore some really cool ideas, both visually and storytelling-wise, and they're definitely worth the look.
I mean, I started watching a bit of Raka, and I'll say that if for what I expected to be a short film, like I thought it was just slow, too slow paced for a short film. However, the images, the story, everything was really engaging about it.
Yeah.
I think I stopped when they finally stopped giving voiceover exposition and actually started a proper story. That's when I stopped watching it, but mostly because I ran out of time.
I think the only reason the narration is there is because it's so condensed. It's kind of a way to kind of quickly get you caught up and kind of quickly give you a sense of what the world is, as opposed to just visually.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
There's a
there.
lot to digest in that video. It's only 21 minutes, but there's so much to digest there, and it's kind of one of those. By the time it gets to the end, it's one of those. Why isn't this a feature?
I think the problem too, though, is when you have like a really great idea like that. There's a certain point where you start developing enough of a backstory where you begin to think, why don't I just make the backstory as the project?
Yeah.
You know, and because there are a lot of projects, both video games and movies, that kind of when you hear the backstory of what's supposed to set up the world, you realize that's the story they should have told, not what they were trying to set up for.
Yeah, and this
know?
is one of those they're kind of trying to feel out which story to tell, because I think there's like 2 or 3 different directions they can go. But it's kind of one of those, let's shoot something and see how it goes, and see what the interest is on whether it's going to be this way or that way, or maybe something completely different that we didn't expect.
And that's what's kind of really great about it. I think actually the Raka would probably work a lot better without the voiceover narration, only because if you have enough of a visual language to explain what's going on, you don't really need this extensive lore dump at the front end, which I'm okay with, but can turn a lot of other viewers off. It's like that's a lot of shit to learn, like right away. But it's nice to see that they're given a venue to do something and just go, let's just get weird. Just fuck it. This is not going to be anything. It's going to be a one shot. Let's get fucking weird and cool. It reminds me of a lot of old role-playing tabletop sessions that we used to have where we do one-shots or just very short campaigns, and it's like, we're just going to go balls out, Yeah, it's not going to last past the semester or even past this session, so let's just keep going.
Yeah, The Verge had a very good interview with him on Raka specifically, and kind of him breaking down what his ideas were and where he was kind of going, because it can get a little choppy because it kind of jumps around a little bit in the edit. But it's a good read. It's a good watch. Absolutely go check that out and go support that. And we need more shit like this. We need more cool shit.
Cool shit.
Maybe
that should be a segment. Cool shit.
Isn't all of this stuff we talk about technically cool shit? Well, maybe.
Well, that's the thing.
Some of it.
Being the nascent new podcast that we are, we don't have segments yet. So, maybe we could make up a segment of cool shit, and it's just called cool shit. I don't know.
Nah, I don't know.
I mean, we could have a Hill to Die On as a segment, or rant about what other thing that we want to talk about. Then we all just it's what we talk about. Yeah. Okay.
I think you're tired.
I think we're all tired. I think we finally petered this podcast out for this week.
I drank a couple of beers before starting this podcast, so I also have that on too. So.
So remember, guys, Alien Isolation sucks. Dead Space is better. Everybody go play Dead Space. Nobody has to play Alien Isolation.
Also, remember, Suicide Squad sucks. Star Trek Beyond is good.
Uh-oh.
Damn it.
We're losing him.
Kingdom.
Play Kingdom. Kingdom is fun.
Watch Raka. Support Oat Studios. Support
Steam
whatever.
Sale going on. Spend your money.
Don't buy Activision.
Also, there's a PSN sale going on for those that are on the PSN.
Yeah, there's a
Pay attention
PlayStation
to
sale.
Battletech. It'll come out soon. It'll be awesome.
If you don't know what Steam is, you should.
We're sorry if you don't. If you don't know what Steam is, we're sorry. At this point, we can't help you. No one can.
All praise Lord Gaben. We're just gonna be full of memes, being tired and at the end of this whole thing.
Oh
Don't
God.
let your dreams be memes.
Oh my God! Play us out.
All right.
Let's go.
I don't think we have rails left. I think we're so far off the track.
Nothing up this sleeve. Nothing up this sleeve.
Bam. Herpes.
Bam. Oh God. So on that note, I think that's a good spot to end it. So for Geek vs. Geek podcast, I'm Joe.
I'm Dan.
I'm Mel.
I'm Ted.
All right. Have a good week, guys.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.
When you talk to Little Green Bars movie.
I only really care about myself right now.
Just right now?
I am the star. And I am pantsless.